great jazz people of the 30s, or people who were kind of involved in popular music in the 30s and 40s. So it was girl groups, singing groups. I think the biggest one for me was Ella Fitzgerald, just because there is nobody finer who can demonstrate all the things about music that I love: warmth, dexterity, a real genuine emotions coming through, and she was just amazing. She could do anything. I got into music, I suppose, through my parents. So they're not massively musical, but there's a bunch of old 78s in the attic, and they were my beloved grandmother's, and it became my own little private world. You know, I would go up to the attic, and I would listen for hours, and I'd imitate home for years, really, and it was my private world, and nobody knew I sang. They knew, my parents, could see that I wanted to be musical, and so I had organ lessons and clarinet lessons, but nobody knew about the singing. It was a very private thing, and I kind of, without realising, learnt an awful lot of things that helped me. I learnt to transpose into any key from being about 8 years old, because all the sheet music that I got from Keighley Library, which is where I pretty much lived, they had a fabulous selection of kind of sheet music. None of it was in my key, so I kind of learnt, I had a revelation one day that if I make that C an F, and then everything else goes up a 4, so learning to transpose by thirds, minor thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, it was stood me in good stead for all the stuff that I do now. Lived here for about 11 years, and bizarrely I moved to Bath very much on a whim. I just fell in love with the place. It happened to me in Venice, and it happened to me in Edinburgh, and I just, I went into Waterstones, and they have a lovely cafe up there, and I had a piece of carrot cake, and as it was the end of the day, the woman said, "You may as well have the end of it." And I said, "Well, are you sure?" And I said, "That's quite a lot." She went, "No, it's fine. Here, have this Tupperware." And a woman from Bath gave me her Tupperware on a first meeting, and I thought that this must be a nice place to live, and I still have that Tupperware. My latest hobby is urban walking, which is what I've decided to do, is get to know Bath on foot this year. And no, this is interesting, keep this in. It's basically walking around for hours, walking around houses and estates, and it's amazing what you see when you're walking as opposed to driving. And yeah, I'm just working out where I want to live, really. I collect Christmas music. That's a little bit embarrassing, really, but I have far too many really hideous Christmas records, which, if you ever need any, to call.